Becky Lynch continues to make a lot of big reveals in her recent media runs, so we'll check out the big highlights there. We'll also check out what's the latest for The Rock, Rhea Ripley, and much more. Starting things off with a situation between WWE and AEW over the Final Boss nickname. Ever since the March 15th edition of Smackdown, The Rock has been heavily going by his new nickname of the Final Boss. And when we say heavily, we really mean heavily. It's just not a casual nickname you hear every once in a while. It's a nickname that you hear on commentary, and The Rock himself heavily mentioning a couple dozen times in each segment. So clearly, like we first spoke about when the nickname was first introduced to the audience, they're really hammering that nickname into us. Probably because it's more than just a nickname. It's going to basically be an upcoming part of this storyline. Even on social media, The Rock always signs off his posts now by saying Final Boss. So he really is going all in with this nickname. Even on The Rock's entrance video, there's a new part of the entrance where the words Final Boss are being flashed behind him while he's walking out. And we spoke about how it's a great fitting nickname because it can be applied to really any situation. He could be considered the final boss opponent to Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, or even the final boss to Roman Reigns himself. The nickname just works with whoever you put it on the opposite side of the ring from, The Rock. But the main drama here is that in these last few weeks, several wrestlers have come out saying that The Rock stole that nickname from them. And the even bigger situation that caught a lot of people's eyes was a post from the official AEW shop account, where they posted Samoa Joe's new merchandise t-shirt that literally has the nickname of The Final Boss on the front graphic. Even in the promotional tweet from that Samoa Joe t-shirt, AEW shop opened up that post by saying The Final Boss in all capital letters. So the fact that Samoa Joe's shirt now labels him as being the final boss just weeks after The Rock has been going by the same nickname, opened up a whole big debate amongst the fans. But as far as things go with The Rock, he's expected to make some more appearances from the company in the final days before WrestleMania, and obviously appear at WrestleMania itself on both nights. There's even some light rumors circulating that Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock will find themselves face to face sometime during WrestleMania weekend. So it'll be a busy few days for The Rock in WWE. He's allegedly not set to leave for filming until early May, so no one knows what that means for his WWE status throughout the month of April. Will he disappear after WrestleMania 40? Or will he appear in the later weeks in April for some type of official write-off? That's the big mystery there. Paul Heyman recently said in an interview that a lot of people like to stay stuck on the baseball analogy of there being a certain amount of innings in Roman Reigns' title reign and bloodline story. So Heyman said that if anything, The Rock joining the bloodline just added extra innings to Roman's story and reign. So we'll have to see if that turns out to be true, and if Roman can survive WrestleMania 40, his biggest challenge yet as champion. Piper Niven cracked a big joke on social media that caught a lot of fans' attention this week. WWE recently posted an advertisement for their upcoming new show, WWE Speed, which will feature 3-minute matches. Piper quoted the advertisement for WWE Speed and had this to say, quote, "3-minute matches? Ladies, it's our time to shine. Wait, what do you mean it's not for us?" End quote. Piper's joke was a reference to the history of the women's division not exactly getting the lengthiest matches at WWE shows. So she was making a joke about women's matches that basically has been like WWE Speed, under 3 minutes. Now things in the women's division have certainly improved drastically over the last decade, but there are a few instances where a short women's match will pop up every now and then. So maybe this is also what Piper was referring to. Becky Lynch continues to make her media runs and continues to have a lot of interesting things to say. Starting with her review of Rhea Ripley's character during her interview with The Click. After Rhea Ripley was referred to as a heel, Becky Lynch had this to say, quote, If she's a heel, she's the worst booked heel in history. If she's a babyface, she's the best booked babyface in history. But I think she's a babyface, right? I think you have to approach that as if she's a babyface because she's a badass. She's a badass. I'm also a badass. And we are two very different people. She's dominant. She's the type of person where you go, there is a superstar. Let me strap a rocket to her and send her to the moon. I'm the one that has always had to overcome. I'm the Rocky Balboa in this. And that's the difference. End quote. And Becky's comments opened up a lot of people's eyes and had them agreeing with her. Becky Lynch isn't saying that Rhea Ripley is a bad heel per se. She's saying that if Rhea truly is a heel, then WWE is handling her horribly because the fans don't boo Rhea Ripley and they don't hate her. Despite being a heel on paper, Rhea Ripley never gets booed during her entrance or on the mic. Only time Rhea will get booed for a half a second is if she says anything positive about Dominic Mysterio. But outside of that, there's no boos at all and nothing but cheers. So that's why Becky said that if she's a heel, she's the worst booked one in history because no one hates her. But that if she's a babyface, she's the best babyface ever because everyone loves her. So it was a very interesting and true point. Becky said Rhea and herself are similar, but in different ways. Fans get behind Rhea Ripley because she's dominant, while fans get behind Becky because she's the underdog that never stops fighting, like Rocky himself. So Becky versus Rhea is not your traditional heel versus babyface match. It's more of an anti-hero versus babyface match, but it still has fans' interest. And in another interview with Sports Illustrated, Becky Lynch made mention that WWE needs more non-title storylines and feuds in the women's division. She had this to say about the topic, quote, "I don't need a title. The title doesn't make me. I make the title. I have enough stories that I don't need the title. NXT, that's a place that does a great job with multiple stories, with women that don't all revolve around a title. That's what our division needs, more stories that don't revolve around a title," end quote. And it's another great point by Becky Lynch because she's completely right. One of the main criticisms of the women's division in recent years has been that if you're not either the champion or the #1 contender, you're probably doing nothing because non-title feuds in the women's division are pretty rare to see. One big recent example of a successful non-title feud in the women's division was Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. There was no title on the line during that feud, but it still went for several months and had an epic conclusion. So Becky Lynch would like to see more of those things like that in the women's division. And it does look like some non-title things are going to be on in the women's division. You have everything going on with Maxine Dupree and Candice LeRae, and you also have Jade Cargill now officially arriving to the Smackdown scene as well. So Jade should be doing some non-big title-related things in the future. So hopefully they continue to keep that going and have more feuds in the women's division that don't require any world title. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.